Hello everyone, this is passage 67, a heavy task of the Fabulae. Brevi intermisso spatio argonautai. With a short space in between, or after a short while, ablative absolute there, the Argonauts arrived at the river Phasis, quod, which was in the territory of the Colchians. Ibi, there, when they had driven away their ship, notice the apulisent there is going to be pluperfect subjunctive. It's a temporal clause. When they'd driven off their ship, and they had, or when they'd steered in their ship, and they egressi essent, and they had disembarked onto the land. Note the essent is the subjunctive. It's subjunctive still part of the original temporal clause with the cum over here, and it's pluperfect, and it looks like it's pluperfect subjunctive passive, but egredior is a deponent verb, so it is in fact active. Statim, they immediately brought themselves to the king Aeetes, and they demanded from him, as soon as I see a demanding word like postulo, I'm looking for ut plus the subjunctive. So, and they asked him, they demanded from him that he should traderetur, they demanded from him that the velus aureum, that the golden fleece, should be handed over sibi to them. So that is imperfect subjunctive passive, part of an indirect command. So they demanded that the golden fleece ought to be handed over to them. They demanded to him, they ordered him that the golden fleece be handed over to them. Ille, he, when he had heard, cum plus the pluperfect subjunctive, when he had heard what the cause of the Argonauts, literally on account of what cause the Argonauts had come, that's going to be an indirect question, because it's what cause did the Argonauts come, direct question. When he had heard on account of what cause, on account of which cause the Argonauts had come, so that's an indirect question, hence the pluperfect subjunctive for when assent. When he had heard, so temporal clause with also a indirect question as well. He, when he had heard on account of what cause the Argonauts had come, commotus est, was moved by anger, and for a long time negabat, he was denying. Remember that for a negative purpose clause, they don't say dico non, they use this word nego, I deny, followed by the accusative infinitive. And he was denying for a long time that the fleece traditorum esse would be handed over. That he would hand over the fleece. Nego se, I deny that he will, negabat se, he denied that he would hand over the fleece. Indirect statement there with the traditorum esse. He denied that say that he was going to hand over the fleece. Next sentence, tandem tamen, at last, however, quod sciebat Jasonem, because he knew that Jason non suscepisse, he knew, as soon as I see a verb of knowing or thinking, verb of saying or thinking, followed by accusative and infinitive. So, because he knew that Jason had not taken over, perfect active infinitive, because he knew that Jason had not taken over this task without sine auxilio, without the help of the gods, mutata sententia, ablative absolute, with the sententia, with his opinion having changed his opinion, he promised, as soon as I see promising, I'm thinking a verb of saying or thinking will probably be followed by an accusative. Say, he promised himself about to hand over the fleece. He promised that he would, they've left out the essay here, but it's still indirect statement. He promised that he would hand over the fleece if Jason, as soon as I see a C, I am going to look for a subjunctive, which I find here, pluperfect passive, if Jason would first complete two very difficult superlative labours. We've got a conditional here, I suppose the condition on which the fleece's donation to Jason depends. So, if Jason would first complete two very difficult tasks, superlative adjective for difficulemos, and cum Jason, when Jason had said that, now look for this bit, ladies and gentlemen, because it is very difficult, when Jason had said, say, that he, paratum esse, indirect statement, dixisset, when he had said, so temporal clause followed by indirect statement, se paratum esse, when Jason had said that he was prepared, ad omnia pericula, that's what we've been looking at recently, that he was prepared, for omnia pericula, that he was prepared for all tasks subeunda, to be taken on. So, we would say that gerundive here, obviously, because the subeunda is actually agreeing with a word, pericula here, and if you remember we said that when a word agrees, when either a gerund or a gerundive agrees with the noun in the sentence, that means it has to be a gerundive, can't be a gerund. Gerunds don't agree with other words in the sentence. Unless, of course, for the gerundive, it is, as we were talking about today, if you remember, some of you, we were talking about intransitive words don't necessarily agree with another word in the sentence in the context of a gerundive of obligation. Anyway, I digress. So when Jason had said that he was ready for all tasks to be taken on, I'm going to ask you to translate that in a less clunky fashion and say when he had said that he was ready to take on all tasks, he ostended. So when he had said that he was ready to take on all tasks, he ostended, he showed what he wanted to happen. So, as in the king, Aeetes, showed what he wanted. Quid, he showed quid velet, what he wished. So ostended first, he showed quid, then what he velet, wanted, fieri, to happen. What we have there is an indirect question. What I want to happen, direct question. What do I want to happen? Direct question, he showed what he wanted to happen. Indirect question, hence the velet being in the subjunctive. Primum, first. Two, duo. I'm afraid that the computer program isn't working, so we've still got these little circles here which are not wanting to be removed. So it doesn't matter, it's still very easy to do. First, jugendi erant duo tauri. So the duo tauri first. Two bulls, jugendi erat, needed to be yoked. Horribly specie, horrible in appearance. First, he needed to yoke two bulls, but first, two bulls, erant jugendi, were to be yoked. Notice here that the jugendi is a gerundive of obligation. First, two bulls, horrible in appearance, ablative of quality, had to be yoked. Qui, who were spewing out flames from their mouth. Tum his junctis. Then, having yoked these, having joined these together, having yoked these, ager, a certain ager field, arandus erat, had to be ploughed. Another gerundive of obligation, agreeing with the ager here. Then, a certain field had to be ploughed, and the dentes and the teeth of a dragon needed to be serendi, sowed, and the teeth of a dragon, serendi, sowed. So, what we've got there is, again, a gerundive, serendi agreeing with the dentes. So, lots of gerundives here. It's good. Next bit, you all know how much I like gerundives. I think they're very good. I like it because they agree with things and they're logical and economical, like the Latin language. Jason is the subject of the next bit. Jason, having heard these things, ablative, absolute, his auditis. Jason, having heard these things, even though, etsi he intellegebat, even though he understood that the task, rem, understanding, verb of saying or thinking, followed by accusative, rem, infinitive essay, even though he understood that the task was of the greatest danger, he still was, however, nay, in order not to lose, hanc occasionem, in order to not to lose this opportunity of the opportunity, I'm trying to think of a good way of saying this, of carrying out a task well, so of a task being carried out, re gerendi, again gerundive gerendi because it's agreeing with re, so in order to not to miss out this opportunity of carrying out a job well, he suscepit negotium, he took on the task. That was very good for gerundives, that passage. Well done, everyone. I'll see you all soon.